Waterways project was pretty much like taking flood material from the Calgary flood and turning it into this really cool project. And it was pretty much taking something bad and turning it to like good.
My name is Alia Shahab, and I am the Community Arts Facilitator with Antyx Community Arts. Antyx Community Arts is a not-for-profit organization, and we work with youth all over the city to do community arts-based projects that are aimed towards social change. Waterways was a project that we initiated in the summer. It was a project that we decided to do in response to the June flood.
Antyx had approached me and another artist, Shordee, to participate with some youth.
The whole thing was sort of like a back and forth collaboration between the youth and the artists.
We had an initial sort of brainstorming meeting, and it got enough youth interested that we had a small team to work with.
So some of our youth were really interested in working with recycled materials and repurposing them to create artwork. And so after the June flood, there was all these materials washed onto the river banks and in the neighborhoods because there was so much destruction. So we decided to go out and collect a whole bunch of these materials and see what we could come up with. So we decided to build a large-scale kinetic water sculpture.
We had this like simple plan of moving water, but everything that happened in between was sort of up to chance.
We're trying to figure out where we were going to build our sculpture, and we went through a series of locations, and we ended up getting in touch with Dyck from CSPACE, who was initiating a project at King Edward's School. So there was 4 artist curators behind this greater Pre-Demolition project, which took place at King Edward's School, and the project was called Phantom Wing.
Phantom Wing was an alternative exhibition. The idea was basically to take art outside of the gallery setting and bring it to the public, and also to take advantage of the sort of like growth cycle in the city in which a lot of spaces are also being torn down, and you know, there's an opportunity there for artists to come in and reinterpret certain things and to work with the space and to tie into that whole process.
And being in the King Edward School, having that courtyard is kind of, well, it's like a no-brainer that you use a courtyard as a place to move the water around and then end up inside.
So we started building. We brought all our materials to the school, sorted them out, we met with the youth. It was the artists and I at the King Edward School ongoing on a regular basis, and then the youth came once a week to contribute and to brainstorm and create and see how we could all collaborate and work together.
I think our experience with this project was really seeing how artists can collaborate with one another and see how they can put together such a big project just from nothing.
You know, it allowed them to learn something valuable, whether it's how to work with the tools or just sort of to see how our own process worked when there's 3 people involved on something, when there isn't necessarily like a set, finished idea of what the thing's going to look like in the end.
Having a vision and wanting to make that vision exactly how you originally had it is not always the best case.
Going with the flow and responding to each other's creativity and what we would make and put down, and it was awesome. It was fun to actually collaborate with you as opposed to primarily facilitating.
There's never a moment of doubt because all the artists there were very supportive and open-minded to different styles. They weren't expecting anything from us. They were basically just hoping to get something out of us, and if it didn't, then nothing happens, but if it does, woohoo!
Working with the youth was an interesting experience. It was a kind of a give and take experience.
It was really like youth-led, so we got to plan a lot of it and build a lot of it, and it's fun.
I'm hoping to like influence kids not to lose that kind of sense of like joy and fun in like making and building things.
Well, our greatest contribution was laughing a lot.
1, 2, 3, go!
They're full of all this energy and just like I've learned how to contain it, and they're showing me like how to like open it up.
Artists, as they mature, can often get really territorial about their work and almost dictatorial about how it should be carried out. But when you introduce sort of less skilled people or people that have different sort of appreciation of what you're doing entirely, then it tends to kind of get rid of that ego element, and it's more about sharing with them what you know, or teaching them a skill that you think is valuable.
I think we gained a lot of knowledge, of how things work, whether it's tools or, how to talk to a person to ask for something, or, who to talk to when you need something.
I gained a lot of confidence from using something that I don't commonly use, like power tools, and being able to create something, build something on my own.
I think that it was awesome for them to be in an environment where they got to work with 30 other artists around them, professional artists working in the city, and to see how their creative process unfolded.
Whatever you needed help with, there was always someone who was an expert in that field that was going to teach you the way. Definitely, if we had a different start on the project, we wouldn't have learned the same things we learned.
You can set out to try to learn something, but you might learn a whole bunch of other stuff.
I think the amount of learning we have in schools is very specific. So, by the end of it, you know what you were going to learn, because in the beginning you have a paper saying, well, this is your chapter, this is your unit. Whereas in this bigger project, it's saying, we don't know what we're going to teach you. It depends on, what kind of creative ideas you come up with and how we have to find a way to make them work.
They learned about the process of how you can bring an idea to life, how you can come up with a crazy idea and actually go through the steps of putting it into action.
The only thing that separates the youth from the artist is the technical abilities. We're all creative and we can make things. It's just what gives you power is the technical ability to actually, go and use tools or use, a method to start helping you make that a reality.
My favorite part of the finished sculpture was not anything physical. It was more the pride that I got from it. From we made this giant cool thing that everybody pretty much just gravitated to.
Thanks to the kids for taking the time out of their crazy busy lives to come and play with us, and I hope that more kids can get involved in stuff like this, and more of them can see the value of creation that's not necessarily just for their own consumption.
Definitely looking at the reactions of everybody, when they look at a project and their eyes sort of just get bigger and they're thinking, wow, this is a nice project, I want to know who made it, and all I'm thinking inside is, it was me. Watching something so beaten down, in the end just become so beautiful, and saying, you know what, I was part of that.